When I was 18, my dad gifted me a house with 2 stories. I am extremely thankful we are not upper class, but my dad bought this house for a cheap price a long time ago. It was his grandmother's cousin's house. I know that this was an extreme privilege, and I'm forever grateful for this. The layout of this building is like an apartment, but it is a house. So basically, each story has its own separate entry, its own kitchen and bathroom. I live upstairs while I rent out the downstairs. My boyfriend, who is 25 years old, moved in with me about 3 months ago, and we have been together for 6 months. I have not asked him for money, neither for utilities or to pay me any rent. The only thing he contributes to is groceries, that we split 50/50ths. I've not brought up that I own the building, as it is not something I tell many people. If people ask me, I of course tell them that I own it, but if they just assume I'm a renter, then they can believe that. The topic of a landlord, the renter downstairs, or the owner of the building has not been something we have talked about. This last Tuesday, the renter came up to tell me that her freezer has stopped working. I answered the door, and my boyfriend heard us talking, I suppose. I went downstairs to take a look, and we came to the conclusion that she would buy a new one, send me the receipt, and I would give her the money. She was very grateful for this solution. When I went upstairs, my boyfriend asked if it could be fixed. I told him no, but she was going to buy a new one and I would pay for it. He looked at me like I was crazy and asked me why the hell I would pay for her freezer. I told him that because I am her landlord and the freezer was there when she started renting, I would stand for the cost. He just asked me if I was serious, to which I said I was. He began screaming at me, asking me why the hell I would hold this information from him and that I was an evil person. I said I was sorry for not telling him, but I did not think that it would matter. He said he could not believe he was together with someone who is a landlord, that all of us just use people for money, and that the only thing we people care about is money, and would rather have people be homeless than offering affordable rent. The downstairs is 1 kitchen, 1 bath and 4 other rooms. I charge $500 in rent. I understand many people have had trouble with landlords, but I try my best to be a good one. He demanded that I give him 50% of the money I make from rent, or else I was just as bad as he thought. Was I really the jerk for not telling him? He's not talked to me since Tuesday, and I've tried telling him that I am truly sorry, but he doesn't answer me at all. Edit. Obligatory edit to add that I certainly did not expect this to blow up the way it did. I have tried to read as much as I can. Thank you all for your advice and support. I've talked with him, and I will update later tonight when I have time to process everything that went down and try to write it out as best as I can. For the people who were worried about my safety, I called my dad, who was sitting outside in his car when I talked with my boyfriend, and I am safe as of right now and hope it will continue that way. Thanks yet again to everyone. Edit 2. Update posted. Sorry for the rushed update and weird writing. It is explained in my update as to why. Thanks yet again. Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Not the idiot, I'm a landlord. We rent at below market rate. We never raise anyone's rent, though we've lowered it, lol. We allow multiple pets, fix everything more quickly than in our own home, and try really hard to be the landlords we wanted. Small 1. 2 property landlords aren't causing rents to skyrocket. And for better or worse, no one's reappropriating rental units to hand out for free. This is the system we live in. All we can do is try to do a little good where we can. Your BF is making a money grab. You've been letting him live there rent-free and he never questioned it. That's bizarre. Now he wants you to give him cash or you're evil. What happens when taxes are due? The place needs a new roof. A pipe bursts. Does he want to sign an agreement that he's responsible for 50% of the cost? Since he took money, you should be saving for things just like that. This guy has told you who he is. Believe him. Now be very careful evicting him, like talk to an attorney first so it's all legal. It doesn't matter how he sees you or what he calls you. Him refusing to leave is the danger. You need him gone. Comment 2. I'm currently at work. I don't live in the US, so different time zones, and I work weekends. To those who have been supportive, thank you. After all your comments, I think this relationship needs to come to an end, but I will try and talk with him today or tomorrow and see what he says. To those who think this is made up, trust me when I say I wish this was. I can't speak for why he said things that contradict each other, that only he can have an answer to. Ending the relationship should not be that hard emotionally. Even though I've grown to like him, seeing and realizing what you helped me do, the emotions you can gather in 6 months are easy to overcome. Comment 3. Not the idiot. He showed his true colours at, give me half the money or you're just as bad as any other landlord. If he actually thought you renting out the lower half of the building was morally reprehensible, the ultimatum would be, stop charging the person downstairs rent, or offer to sell the downstairs unit to them, or even donate the profit to charities that help people secure stable housing. But no, he only actually cares that he didn't know about this stream of income, and now he wants in. Now for the update. Alright, buckle up, because these past 2 weeks have been a roller coaster. After my boyfriend, let's call him Mark, demanded half the rent money, I was pretty shaken up. I tried to explain that I wasn't being deceitful, that the house was a gift and the rental income was basically keeping me afloat while I'm in school. But nope, Mark dug his heels in, and it turned into a huge argument. That was just the start. 2 days later, I get a knock on the door from the downstairs tenant. She's freaking out because there's a small flood in her apartment. A pipe burst overnight. I call a plumber immediately, and they get to work. Meanwhile, Mark is sitting on the couch, scrolling through his phone, completely unbothered by the chaos. And then he casually mentions that he's quitting his job because he figured with my rental income, we could afford it. Excuse me, what? I realized then that he wasn't just angry, he felt entitled to the money. That was a huge red flag. I told him that he couldn't just quit his job and expect to live off my income. He lost it, saying that I was selfish and that if I loved him, I would support him. That was when I knew this was not the guy I thought he was. I had a lot to think about, and while the plumber was fixing the pipe, I realized that I had to end things with Mark. I didn't sign up to be anyone's sugar mama, especially not at 18. It was tough, but I told him he needed to move out. He pleaded, then got angry, then tried to guilt-trip me, but I stood my ground. But wait, there's more. After he left, I was suddenly served with court papers. Mark was suing me for emotional distress and what he called his share of the rent money he believed he was owed. I couldn't believe it. Thankfully, my dad helped me get a lawyer who pretty much laughed off the case. Turns out you can't just sue someone for being a landlord and not handing over half the income to your barely there boyfriend. The tenant's apartment is fixed now, and she's been super understanding about everything. I'm just relieved this didn't scare her off. I've learned my lesson, and I'm going to be a lot more cautious about mixing my personal life with my role as a landlord. And maybe also with whom I date. Seriously, I thought I was just dealing with a broken freezer, not a broken relationship and a lawsuit. Life comes at you fast, huh? Now for the comments. Comment 1. Not the idiot. First and foremost, Mark's demand for half of the rent money was completely unreasonable, considering the property was a gift to you, not to both of you. Moreover, the fact that he quit his job without discussing it with you, with the assumption that he could live off the rental income that you rely on for your livelihood, shows a complete lack of respect for your autonomy and financial stability. His sense of entitlement to your assets is a huge red flag. Ending the relationship was a wise decision given his behavior. Furthermore, his decision to sue you for emotional distress and a share of the rent money is not only legally unfounded, but also an act of aggression and manipulation. It's good to hear that the case was dismissed, and it certainly seems like you've learned an invaluable lesson about protecting your assets and being wary of how financial matters can complicate personal relationships. Comment 2. Not the idiot. The critical point here is that Mark's expectations were not based on any legal or ethical claim to the rental income, but on a sense of entitlement that was not supported by the nature of your relationship or the legal ownership of the property. His attempt to sue for emotional distress seems to be an abuse of the legal system, aiming to exploit your vulnerability as a student and property owner. It is essential in any relationship, romantic or otherwise, to establish clear boundaries regarding personal finances and to ensure that both parties have a mutual understanding and agreement on any financial arrangements. Your father's involvement in securing a lawyer suggests that you had familial support and advice, which Mark may not have taken into consideration. It's fortunate that you were able to resolve the legal issue without further damage, but this situation highlights the importance of establishing legal and personal boundaries in any cohabitation or shared financial situation. Comment 3. Not the idiot. It's clear from your narrative that there were underlying issues in your relationship with Mark, primarily concerning financial boundaries and expectations. His lack of contribution to the household and subsequent demand for rental income showcase a disregard for the effort and resources you put into maintaining your property and supporting yourself through school. Moreover, the fact that Mark was unmoved during an emergency situation, like the burst pipe, speaks volumes about his irresponsibility and disinterest in the welfare of your tenants, which in turn affects your role and reputation as a landlord. His subsequent legal action against you is not only harmful, but also illustrates a manipulative tactic to gain financial advantage. Your decision to seek legal counsel was prudent and ultimately beneficial in protecting yourself from such exploitation. This experience is a harsh but valuable lesson in ensuring that future relationships are built on mutual respect, clear communication, and an understanding of financial responsibility. Now for the next story. Last night, I, a 46-year-old female, had a glass of wine while watching a movie with my 16-year-old daughter, and she asked me if she could try some. Normally, I'm strict with my children when it comes to alcoholic beverages, but I didn't think a little wine would hurt, so I poured her a glass. I told her that this would be a once-in-a-blue-moon exception. My husband, a 48-year-old male, on the other hand, was not okay with this. When he came into the living room and saw her with the wine in her hand, he lost his mind. He started shouting at me, asking why the hell I let her drink alcohol underage, and said she could easily become addicted to it. I immediately felt bad and apologized, but my husband is still pissed with me over this. I don't think he trusts me anymore. Am I the idiot? Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Not the idiot. This is the perfect way to introduce your daughter to alcohol. It's a safe, controlled environment with people, her parent, she trusts most in the world. You want her to learn healthy habits, and drinking in moderation with you right next to her removes a lot of the appeal of alcohol. You're taking away any lingering mystique or stigma. If it's not forbidden or an adult thing she's not allowed near trusted with, then it looses a lot of the appeal. I think you and your husband need to have a conversation about how you're going to introduce alcohol to your kids. She's already 16. If she hasn't had it with friends by now, then she will soon. And keeping it as some kind of forbidden fruit until she's 21 only makes it more likely she'll hide it from you rather than feeling comfortable sitting next to you every now and then sharing a glass of wine. Binge drinking is a real issue, especially in college, and a lot of it stems from how we treat alcohol as something that's to be hidden. Moreover, it's a little alarming that your husband's first reaction was to yell at you. We only have this scene to go on, but jumping straight to she could get addicted from a single glass of wine shared with her mother seems like either a huge reach or like there's something deeper behind it. Edit, OP said in a comment below that husband's family has a history of substance abuse, so I understand why husband had such a reaction now. It must have brought up a lot of painful memories that he wasn't expecting, since they previously hadn't let daughter have alcohol, presumably due to her age. Edit 2. Wow, wasn't expecting this to be my most upvoted comment. I enjoyed reading your replies and the conversations that have sprung from them. Whoever sent me a Reddit cares message, thank you for the laugh. Comment 2. Not the idiot. Everyone should experience alcohol first in a safe environment. At home with her mum watching a movie is perfect. A lot of her peers either are or will start drinking soon, underaged, at parties with other underaged kids and little to no supervision. It's not a good environment to be learning how alcohol affects judgment in, and if she's banned from it at home, generally kids will seek it elsewhere because they want to know and they think they are super adult and ready for adult things. I understand his concern, but alcohol addiction doesn't just happen. It's a bad coping method for problems that people become reliant on. Teaching her in a safe environment and being clear it's not something to have all the time, and can be bad for you if it is a good way to introduce her to it, rather than just waiting for her to be old enough to buy it herself. Comment 3. No idiots here. I used to live overseas, so the drinking age is lower there. 16 is perfectly fine to have a glass of wine. In fact, having a glass in front of a parent really takes the fun and mysticism out of drinking. You made it seem normal because it is, which develops a healthier relationship with alcohol than not. You're not an AH for giving your daughter wine, nor is your husband an AH for getting mad about it. You guys just weren't on the same page. I'm not married, but I'd say it was just a miscommunication. My parents let me try wine and beer when I was around 8 years old. Before people come for my parents, it was just a sip so I could taste them. I thought alcohol tasted pretty bad, and I hardly drink now, and I'm 25. Now for the update. So the hubby and I were definitely on thin ice after the whole wine incident with our daughter. Things were frosty to say the least, but last Tuesday it took a turn for the absurdly dramatic. My daughter, bless her heart, tried to play peacemaker by making dinner for everyone. She's got a flair for the dramatic herself, so she set up this whole peace treaty-themed meal. She even made non-alcoholic cocktails, trying to lighten the mood and show she got the message about responsible drinking. Well, the universe must have been laughing at us because halfway through the meal there was a knock at the door. Turns out it was a police officer. My heart nearly stopped. I thought, has something happened to someone we know? But no, it was about us. Our nosy neighbour had seen the wine incident through the window and called the cops, claiming child endangerment. I mean, talk about out of proportion. So there we are, being questioned in our own home about our parenting choices, with our daughter mortified and my husband looking like he was ready to burst a blood vessel. But here's the kicker. As the officer is talking to us, he gets a call on his radio about a real emergency and has to leave abruptly, telling us sternly to handle your family matters more privately in the future. The whole debacle seemed to snap something back into place for my husband. After the officer left, he just broke down, apologising for overreacting and for the Cold War that followed. He even admitted he might have been subconsciously looking for an ally in our daughter during our argument, which wasn't fair to anyone. My daughter, meanwhile, had gone from being caught in the crossfire to mediating a truce, and was now utterly confused whether she should laugh or comfort her father. We ended up choosing laughter. We've been working on communicating better since then. We even had a family meeting where my daughter set some ground rules for us. Can you believe that? We talked about trust, responsibility, and how to handle disagreements without the neighbourhood watch getting involved. And guess what else? My husband surprised us with a family trip. He says it was planned before the wine incident, but I think he's trying to make up for the tension. We're going camping next weekend. No alcohol, no neighbours, just us and the great outdoors. It's either going to be a disaster or the best bonding experience ever. I know this sounds like a plot twist from a soap opera, but honestly it's just life being its unpredictable self. Here's to hoping the next update will be just as wild, but for all the right reasons. Now for the comments. Comment 1. Not the idiot. From the story, it seems like the initial argument over wine was a minor family squabble that could happen in any household. Your daughter's attempt to make amends with a peace-themed dinner suggests that she acknowledges her part in the disagreement and is trying to move past it in a positive manner. The arrival of the police officer due to a neighbour's complaint about child endangerment, however, seems like a gross overreaction on the part of the neighbour and not something within your control. It's unfortunate that the officer had to leave abruptly due to an emergency, but the important part is that your husband recognised his overreaction and apologised for it. The fact that your family is actively working on communication and has had a family meeting to address the issue shows a healthy approach to resolving conflicts. Additionally, your husband planning a surprise camping trip to alleviate the tension is a positive step towards family bonding. It's clear that despite the challenges, your family is making a concerted effort to come together and improve the dynamics, which is commendable. Comment 2. Not the idiot. The narrative provided demonstrates a level of introspection and commitment to family cohesion that is admirable. The initial argument, while regrettable, is not uncommon in family dynamics where differing opinions can lead to heated discussions. What is crucial, however, is the willingness to repair the relationship afterward, which your daughter has shown by cooking a peace-themed dinner. The escalation involving the police seems to be the result of a misunderstanding or an overzealous neighbour, rather than any actual wrongdoing on your part. The positive steps taken after the incident, such as the family meeting to work on communication, are indicative of a proactive approach to conflict resolution. Furthermore, the surprise camping trip your husband is planning represents an opportunity for the family to reconnect and build stronger relationships outside of the home environment. Your reflection on the unpredictability of life and hope for more positive updates signals a forward-thinking and optimistic mindset, which is essential for overcoming family hurdles and fostering a supportive home atmosphere. Comment 3. Not the idiot. Yeah. It's clear that the conflict in this story stems from a series of misunderstandings and overreactions rather than any intentional harm or negligence on your part. The fact that the argument started over something as benign as wine suggests that there may be underlying tensions that need to be addressed, but the effort made by your daughter to reconcile by cooking a dinner centered around peace is a step in the right direction. The neighbour's decision to call the police seems disproportionate to the situation described and might indicate a lack of communication or understanding within the community. The fact that your family is taking concrete steps to improve communication, such as holding a family meeting, shows a responsible and mature approach to resolving internal conflicts. Moreover, the surprise camping trip is a thoughtful gesture by your husband to bring the family closer together and create a shared positive experience, which can be a foundation for better relationships moving forward. It's also encouraging to hear that you are hopeful and open to the idea that life is unpredictable and are willing to adapt and grow from these experiences. This mindset will likely serve your family well in navigating future challenges. If you like this video, you'll probably like these too. Also, while you're here, please consider subscribing. It's your support that keeps this channel alive and allows me to make better and longer videos. Have a great day.